Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. This is a review of the iMAX B6AC charger. Now there are a lot of videos already of this charger, however this is the new version, this is the V2, and boy does it excite the nerd in me. It has got a lot of cool features that if you're into your gadgets and things like that, then this is going to be really cool for you. Now, normally I wouldn't do a review of a charger, but this one has just got so many cool things. And I also think that a lot of people are going to go for this one because it's kind of like a entry-level charger, but it does a really good job at the same time. Now, I paid £38 for this one on Banggood. Now, the problem with the original iMAX B6 charger was there were a lot of fake clones out there. And even on Banggood, if you search for the iMAX B6, the first version, even Banggood admits that they sell the clone version. However, with this one, it is the original. In fact, if you turn it over, it's got the correct SKYRC logo on it, and if you scratch that off and go to SKYRC's website, it'll tell you that you've got a genuine one. So the first thing that I like about this charger is that you can plug it straight into a wall socket. Now, most chargers you can't do that with, and that is because back in the day, most time you were charging, you'd do it in the field, so you would have, say, like a 12 volt DC input there, and that would plug into a car battery and you would field charge. But now we don't really need to do that. You know, we can fly these quadcopters and small light aircraft anywhere we like, outside our houses if we like. So I went for this one because it's got the AC charge there and a bunch of other features as well. Now, the first version doesn't have that, but can you see there? It says PC Link. It's absolutely useless feature, but it sold it to me. You can plug this via USB into your computer and you can monitor your batteries from a computer, and we'll get into that a bit later. But a lot of people ask me, actually, what charger do you use? Now, for about 10 years, I've been flying with LiPo batteries, and I started out when balance charging wasn't really a thing. So this is my charger that I have had for a long time, I think since 2005. It's a RITMAX charger. I think I bought it at a model show years and years ago. And as you can see, it's quite small. I have modified it so that you can add any connector that you like to it. Originally, I was using bullet connectors. That was kind of the standard when you first started. Of course, it then moved on to JST and all sorts, which we will go through a bit later. But yeah, there's no balance port on here, and it's also very tiny, and you can see here at the end there's just these crocodile clips, and this you would plug into your car battery if you were out on the field, and also a power supply which you can buy, and that's another reason I went for this, is you don't have to have a separate power supply. This one you do. So if we just look at the specs of this one, you can see that 1 to 4 cell LiPo charger. It auto detects the cells. Basically, the only option you've got is to stop and start it. When it's reached the voltage, it just beeps at you and stops charging. But I liked it for its simplicity, and this one, on face value, it does look more complicated, but really it's not at all, and I'm going to show that because I wanted to upgrade my charger, seeing as I'm using a lot of balanced batteries now, but like I say, I wasn't doing that with this one. You literally just plug your battery into here, press go, and it starts charging. It guesses the cell. In this one, you really have to select more parameters. So that's my first charger. This is what I'm upgrading from. So when I started getting into bigger quadcopters, they come with their own LiPo charger. And those looked a little bit different. All you've got here is a balance cable here, whereas this particular charger has got a charger cable and also a balance connector. So what's the difference between these two? Well, this is a very good charger, actually, despite what some people say, and it's really easy to use as well. So literally, all you have to do here, and you've got two connectors here. This is the iMAX B3AC, so B6 and B3. It's more of a compact charger. Again, it just plugs into a wall socket there. It doesn't plug into a 12-volt battery, as far as I know. But then you just plug the balance cable of the battery into here, and what it does is you've got cell 1, cell 2, and cell 3, and it individually, through this balance cable, charges each one of the cells up to the maximum 4.2 volts, which is really nice and handy. The only problem with it is that it's got a fixed amount of amps that it can charge at, and that is quite low, actually. If we just look on here, its output current is 3 times 700 milliamps. With this one, its max amps is 6 amps. So this one per cell is only going to charge at 700, so 0.7 amps per cell. This one is able to charge at 6 amps. So much less control there. So what does that actually mean when we're saying it will charge at 6 amps and 0.7 amps per cell? It all starts to sound very complicated, doesn't it? Okay, so for most batteries, the recommended charge rate is 1C, and that just means 1 times the capacity. Okay, so the capacity of this battery is 2,200 milliamps, right, or 2.2 amps. So if you wanted to charge this battery at 1C, you would charge it at 2.2 amps. But this battery here, which is a single cell, is 500 milliamps. To charge this at 1C, you would charge it at 0.5 of an amp. So if you're always wondering, what amp should I charge my batteries at, all you need to do is whatever the capacity is. These Turnigy batteries make it quite simple because it's there, 2.2. You would charge it on here at 2.2 amps. And really, that's the only parameter that you can change on here. You can change the amps that it charges at and the number of cells, and that's pretty much all you need, and we will go through that in a bit. So a lot of people will be following my channel because I do a lot with micro quadcopters. So before we get onto the review of this, I want to show you the charger that I use for my 1 cells for my micro quadcopter, and it's this one. It's the Hobby Tiger BC1S06, and it's got these, I think, lossy connectors, the same connectors that you would have for a Hubsan, and it does 6 at a time. You can see there that these light up when you've got a battery connected. They light up red, and when it's charged, the light goes out. It's a really good way of charging batteries. You can plug that in using a 12-volt. You can do it by USB as well, but I don't tend to do that. Now, you can see here input voltage 7 to 30 volts, 12 volts recommended. Charge current is 6 times 500 milliamps. Okay, so I am using 500 milliamp batteries, 1 cell, mostly, should I say. I do use other ones. But if I'm using a 500 milliamp 1 cell battery, then 500 milliamp of charge is charging it at 1C. So, just keep that in mind if you're using this charger to charge, say, a 250 milliamp battery. If you're using this and it charges at 500 milliamps, you're actually charging that battery at 2C. So you might want to make sure that that battery can support a 2C charge, but I'm sure with these little tiny mini batteries, it's going to be fine. And so a 1 cell is 3.7 volts. In fact, all cells on batteries are made up of 1 cells. It's just, this is a 1 cell, so it's 3.7 volts for 1 cell. And then this is a 3 cell here, but all that means is it's just 1, 2, 3. It's 3 1 cell batteries paired together to create a higher voltage. So if this is 3.7 volts times 3 there will make it 11.1 volts, and that's literally how batteries work. This one, however, is obviously a lot smaller because that's the capacity. That's the next point about batteries, okay? The capacity of this is 500 milliamps, okay? You can see there that it says 25C. Now, all C means is capacity, right? So 1C of this battery is 500 milliamps, okay? And so that's how I was mentioning before. If you want to charge this at 1C, you will hear lots of people say you should charge your battery at 1C. It basically just means the capacity of the battery, right? So to charge this battery at 1C, you charge it at 0.5 amps, okay, which is what this says it charges at. So that's perfect for this size battery. But let's say you've got a 1000 milliamp battery at one cell that you want to charge off this, which you can do. It's only going to charge it at half a C, half a capacity, which means it's going to take longer to do. And you can't adjust that on this one, okay? But you can adjust it on this one. Now, the problem with charging a battery that has more than one cells with a charger that doesn't have a balanced charge is that each one of these cells will have a slightly different voltage. So if we just charge it through the main lead here, it's going to charge the cells up, but it may overcharge this one and undercharge this one to get the same voltage. So I should explain what I mean by over and undercharge. So LiPo batteries have like a minimum voltage and a maximum voltage. The minimum voltage that you can safely go down to is about 3.3 volts per cell. So one cell here, you don't want to let this go down lower than 3.3 volts. That is because at that point, the battery can start to fail. It's to do with the chemicals inside it, okay? So you have to keep it above 3.3 volts per cell, and you don't want to charge any more than 4.2 volts per cell. So what a balanced charger does is it takes each individual voltage of each cell and allows you to monitor it through this here. So it's going to show you what the voltage of each cell is, and then if you're using a smart battery charger like this one, then it's never going to overcharge. And overcharging a battery is just as bad as undercharging a battery. The batteries start to the term used is puff out, and they literally expand like that. It's to do with the way that these batteries create gases, and it causes them to expand. And if you've got a battery that's doing that, it's time to dispose of it, because it can get quite dangerous. So now that we've sort of covered the basics of how a LiPo battery works, I want to show how you can use this charger to the best of your advantage and how to get the best charge out of it. So let's go back to the iMAX B6 charger and let's just see what you get with it, because batteries come with different types of connectors. This is the cable that plugs into the charger that's going to provide the power to the battery, and its native connector is a Dean's connector, but don't worry about that because it does come with lots of adapters. So you would plug this in here like that. And then with that, you get an XT60 connector, which is good because that's my main connector that I'm using with my bigger quadcopters. You get a Futaba-based lead, and you get a JST. And then you get this crocodile clip lead, which basically means that you can plug these onto any terminal battery if you're desperate. So all those leads are for that one. And of course you do get an AC adapter lead. I'm not going to show you that because it's plugged into the wall at the moment, but that plugs into there and it just works from the wall. You do get this cable as well, which I don't think I'm going to be using, and that is a 12 volt connector which plugs in there, and then that's just going to plug into your car battery or a field battery if you have one. So I'm going to look at charging this zippy 3-cell 3000 milliamp battery. I've got the XT60 connector plugged in there, and then I've got the balance lead plugged into there. So this is going to charge through this cable and monitor it through this cable. And as I say, that's different than this because this one just charges each individual cell through the balance cable. First of all, I should say we are going to plug it into the PC, but there's nothing really special or extra that you can do on the PC that you can't do on the screen here. Okay, so to charge a battery, what we're going to do is, you can see here that I think the standard amp was 1.9. It doesn't really matter, right? You need to change it for your battery. So in order to do that, you quick press the start button, and then that's going to flash the amps, which you can change. Now, as I mentioned before, this is a 3000 milliamp battery, which means its capacity is 3 amps. So we would charge it at 1C at 3 amps, okay? And so to charge it at 2C, you would go to 6 amps, which is the maximum of this. Anyway, you see we'll get up to here, up to 5.96, and it goes back to there. So bear that in mind, that if you're charging bigger batteries like this, if you're looking for a quick charge, the most that you can do with even this capacity is 2C. I mean, if this was a 4000 or 5000 milliamp battery, you'd be doing just 1C or slightly over. So we're going to set this to 3 amps because that's what this battery is. And then if you press start again, it jumps over to the cell number. We're going to do 3 cell. You hold it down. Actually, sorry, we'll stop it. Actually, there's the other option as well. You've got this option here where it says balance charge. I would always balance charge. It's just so easy to stick the balance cable in there. If you don't do that, then it doesn't do the cell check, and you can potentially start a fire. Okay, so my recommendation would be to always balance charge. But you do have other options. Can you see that? Oh, hang on, sorry. Yeah, so these are the different types of battery: LiPo, LiFi, LiIo, lithium ion, NiCad, and things like that. I'm not using it for that, but it does do all the different types of battery. So I'm doing LiPo, and then you can see a balance charge at the top. If you select these, you can just do a normal charge, so it doesn't take in the balance cable. Fast charge, again, you don't really want to mess with that because we are setting the amps manually. I would recommend always doing that. But fast charge, I'm sure, is just going to give you like the full amps. I haven't used it. Storage is going to let you store your batteries, which gives a voltage. So it basically charges the battery to 3.8 volts per cell, which is a nice voltage to store the batteries at. You can also discharge as well. I like to discharge my batteries by actually using them, but here you can use this if you want to. We're going to do a balance charge. So you hold it down, battery check, and you can see there 3 cell. This is a 3 cell, confirm to enter, and it starts charging. If you have got the balance lead plugged in and you select a 4 cell, it'll come up with an error. It won't let you charge it. That's why you should always balance charge. Okay, so now it's starting to charge. It tells you the charge time there. It shows you the current voltage, and then if you mess with these buttons, so if we press that one, it's telling you what each voltage is per cell. There, you can obviously have up to 6 cells. Press it again. I like this, and this isn't on the computer or anything like that. It tells you how much percentage it is full. I like that, 50%. So that's just those ones on that button. Then on this button, it tells you the end voltage, which is correct for a 3 cell, 12.6. That's 4.2 volts per cell. The in power voltage, the internal temperature, that's the temperature that this is running at. External temperature, we'll get onto later. Temperature cutoff is set at 60 degrees C. That means that if this thing starts to get too hot, it'll automatically cut off. However, this kind of thing is promoting, like, sort of leaving your batteries unattended, and it's got an automatic temperature cutoff. So I'm not too sure on that feature. Safety timer on. That means that if after 118 minutes the battery isn't charged, it's going to switch off. You can change that all in the settings if you want to. Let's press start, and that'll take us back to that screen. If you press stop, it'll instantly stop. I like how there's no confirmation there, it just stops. So if you hold the stop button down, you get into the different options. So that this is all you're charging different types of batteries and things. Then you've got battery meters. So if you don't want to charge your battery, but you just want to check what voltage is at, you can check that. Press stop to go back. Battery resistance. This is something that I haven't used, but is used to show you sort of what C you can charge your battery at. I don't bother with that. I just go off and charge at 1C or 2C going off the capacity. So that's more for your advanced battery user, which I am not. System settings, you can go into there. Safety timer, you can change that. Capacity cutoff set to 8,000 milliamps, so it's never going to charge a battery more than 8,000 milliamps, which is not that great because that would explode that battery, but it doesn't matter because we're balance charging anyway, so we don't need that. You can change the cutoff temperature there. Temperature unit you can change if you want to. Rest time, you can set a rest time for it to stop charging. I don't mess with that. There's all sorts of settings here I've never used, except this one. I've got the key beep off because that means that it will beep here every time you press a button. And I've got the buzzer off as well because sometimes I charge my batteries late at night and it just basically buzzes when it's finished. But I've got that switched off because I don't want to wake anyone up if I'm charging batteries at night. Attended, of course. I would never go to sleep and charge a battery. You do a factory reset. Firmware version, that's it, really. That's all the settings. So the next thing is multi-charging. Now, multi-charging with this charger is possible, but it's kind of a touchy subject, right? Because it's kind of a bodged way of doing it, right? If you want a charger that charges more than one LiPo battery at a time, you can get ones that individually, there's basically like having 3 chargers in one go, and you plug them in. It individually has one of these screens and does it properly, right? But you can multi-charge with this charger if you get one of these. This is called a balance charging plate, and you have to connect them up in a certain way, right? So this balance charging plate comes with a balance lead that will plug into the 6S balance plug there, and then you can only multi-charge batteries with the same number of cells. So these are 3 cells. And not only that, they also have to be at the same voltage, right? So you have to set, like, say, a voltage timer on your aircraft, and each one of these cells want to be around about the same. And that is because you will be balance charging them, but what this does is it puts these batteries in parallel. So what it does is it basically makes this one big 3-cell battery and just ups the capacity. So it basically takes this voltage, the individual voltage cells of this battery and the individual voltage cells of this battery, and puts them all together. So if the start voltage of this one is, say, 3.7 volts, but the start voltage of this one is 4 volts, then one of your batteries is not going to be charged properly. So you can check the individual voltages of each cell before you start charging. But once you've got it plugged in, and we tend to do fly our batteries down to the same voltage, so you can multi-charge. It's not perfect. I was a bit confused about how this plate works. How can we still balance charge our batteries when, you know, we're not individually plugging them in? And it doesn't, basically. It's kind of taken an average of each one of these cells. It's taking that cell and showing the average balance of it, that one and that one, the average, and so on, right? So make sure they're the same number of cells. They can be different capacities. That doesn't matter. Say this one's a 2,200 milliamp battery, this one's a 3,000 milliamp battery. That's fine. You just have to make sure that they're the same number of cells and the same start voltage or thereabouts. And that's how you multi-charge, and I will show you. Now these aren't balanced. This one's almost a fully charged battery, and this one isn't. So actually be interested to read what, because I know that the voltage of this one is 3.8 volts and the voltage of this one's 4.1. So I'd actually be interested to see if we go into the settings here. Let's go to the battery meter. Yeah, 3.93 for each cell. That's not right. So it's basically it's taking an average of the two. So to charge it, I'm just gonna go back to LiPo battery. Make sure you don't get those mixed up. So actually, the capacity here, we've got 2.2 amps and 3 amps. That's going to be 5.2 amps that we can charge that at. So I can change that. Oh, I pressed the wrong button, sorry. Quick tap to change the amps. And we're going to go up to 5.2. Okay. Just make sure everything's plugged in correctly. Yes, it is. Okay, and then we're 3S, so tap it again. Hold down the button, battery check. 3S, it's detected it. And it starts charging. And then we go, we've got 2 batteries charging. I'm not going to do that for too long, though. Like I say, these batteries are on equal voltage in the cell, so I'm going to press stop. One of the features that I didn't talk about much of this charger before we move on is the fact that it's got a memory. So you can program in a battery memory, and it's going to set the amps that you have preset and also the cell number which we've preset. But to me, that is pointless doing that, I think, because you've only got 2 parameters to change anyways. And each battery, you know, it's just as quick to change the amps to the capacity of the battery and the 3 cell as it is to go into the battery memory and manually change it. So I'm not going to run through that in this video because I don't think it's a useful feature. If you do, and by all means use it, you can go into battery memory and save a preset, but I'm not going to do that. Let's talk a little bit about battery connectors. Now, why aren't all battery connectors the same? Why isn't there a standard? And it's a good question, kind of, right? So there is a reason why there are different kind of battery connectors. Sometimes there isn't an excuse for it, and sometimes there is. Okay, so we've got 3 different battery types here. We've got a 2 cell, a 3 cell, and a 4 cell, and they've all got different types of battery connectors, and it is to do with the thickness of the gauge of wire used. So the thicker the gauge of wire, the more current can flow through. So the higher sort of voltage and the higher C rating that a battery has, it's going to need a particular thickness of wire, which means that it's going to need a thicker connector to be able to connect into the battery. So, for example, this thickness of wire would not fit inside a JST connector. It certainly wouldn't fit inside a lossy connector. However, that's not an excuse for the fact that there are lots of different types of connectors that will fit a 1 cell, lots of different type of connectors that will fit a 2 cell, and so on. In fact, if you look at the gauge of wire of this is a 4 cell nanotech battery against the zippy battery. You can see the gauge of wire is actually thicker on that one. So sometimes there is an excuse for it and other times there isn't, but generally it's to do with the thickness of the wire. So let's get on to plugging this thing into the PC and see what we're able to do from there. It just plugs in using a USB to micro lead, the same as you would charge, say, an Android phone or something like that. But before we do that, let's just get onto this slot here. You can see there's sort of a temperature icon there, and this is for plugging in an external temperature sensor, which you can wrap around your battery, and then you can see whether the temperature is getting too high. Now, I'm not too sure on the use of that feature because they say that you should never charge a battery unattended, but surely having this temperature sensor is promoting the fact that you know, you can maybe go away and monitor the temperature of the battery from a computer or something like that. So I don't think I'm gonna get one of those, but oh, they only cost £1 though. £2. So here's the temperature sensor. I have hot glued a Velcro strap on it because you are meant to wrap this around your battery, and this end here is what senses the temperature. So I wanted to plug that in because I wanted to see if the reading comes up on the PC link. Now it comes up on here. Like I say, there's nothing that the PC link can do that this can't, apart from maybe remotely checking your battery, which, you know, as I mentioned before, I don't promote. But tell me what you guys think. Do you think this is a good idea, being able to monitor your battery temperature and things like that, so that you can maybe be away from the charger, maybe in the flying field or something? If you're charging, you could maybe have a laptop with you or whatever, and check, you know, your temperatures and things, and then how your batteries are doing from afar. But yeah, let's not go into that. Let's just check out the PC software and what you're able to do with it. I'm going to wrap a battery around this and plug it in. But what starts to happen at this stage is, you can see, what I liked about this is you only really had two wires, the power going in from the AC, and then your battery plugged in, but you're starting to get, you know, you've got a wire going to your computer, a wire wrapped around the battery. It's starting to get a little bit wire messy. Just before we move over to the computer, this is how I've got it set up. This is the battery temperature sensor wrapped around some Velcro there. You can buy these actually with the Velcro already attached, but I think all someone has done there is remove the screws and just place some Velcro in, cut a bit away the case. Those are a little bit more expensive. This was £1.99 off eBay from China. It took like 2 weeks to turn up or whatever, so I'd just go for the cheaper option, but that's just me. So this is the software that you use. It's called Charge Master. Just search for that. I think I searched SKYRC and Charge Master. Gonna double click that. And there you go. This is what you get. This is kind of like a GUI for a similar sort of thing that you can get on the screen of the charger itself. So before you start charging or anything, you've got the voltage of your current battery, that's if it's plugged in, and the individual cell voltages, 3.94 there, max cell voltage, that's the maximum, minimum, safety timer, all the sort of things that you can get on the charger itself. Then into system, you can change certain settings, again exactly the same settings that you can change on the charger itself. Capacity limit, buzzer. This just, you know, makes it beep and things. The same sort of settings and things. Now, one thing that you can't do actually on the charger is update the firmware from it. But here you can just press update firmware. I think I had version 1 and I've updated it to version 1.10. Just be aware that it did seem to completely reset my charger when I did that. So be aware of that. Programming, I think, again, this is just creating different profiles and things. I'm not going to bother with that because you've only, like I say before, you've only got a couple of options to change really. So I don't think it's difficult to change them each time rather than creating a name and things like that. But you can do that if that's the sort of thing that you want to do. You can see here, and then all your different programs here and things. So let's show what happens when you charge. So you can change the different type of batteries there. Change the charger mode. We want to do a balance. I always want to do a balance. We are 3-cell, and then you can change the amp rate. Now at default it sets it to 0.1 amp, so make sure you change that because it's going to take hours and hours for your battery to charge at that. You've got charge current and discharge current. So this is a 3000 milliamp battery, so I'm going to charge it at 3 amps to get 1C. Press save. Now, one thing that you don't get on any of this is the current temperature. I thought it'd be quite nice, wouldn't it, if you could see what maybe the temperature of the room was that you were in or something like that, but you can only see the temperatures when you start. So if I press start here, it just starts charging straight away. There's no sort of confirmation like there is on the actual charger. And then when you look at the charger, it again just starts charging. But I think if you selected the wrong number of cells, so let's stop that a minute. Let's say we want to do a 4-cell and save and then start charging. Let's see what happens because this is a 3-cell. Incorrect cell number. That's great. So it still won't let you charge the wrong battery. So let's start charging. Let's see what you get. So here we go. You get this kind of line graph. I'm not sure what you could do with that really, but it's kind of cool. You know, us gadget people, we like a graph, don't we? So we've got now the internal temperature, the battery temperature, so that's using the external temperature gauge there, and then you've got the current that's going through. So I selected 3 amps. It's doing, you know, around about that. That's fine. The voltage of the battery that's currently at the time, the capacity that has gone through. And if you click these views here, it just changes the graph to show you the different types of timelines and things if you're into that sort of thing. I'm not really using it for that at all. And then here you've got your individual cell amounts again. Full screen. Okay, that makes the graph full screen. I'm not sure why you'd want to do that. Fit to view, save screen. How do you get out of that? Do you just literally click that? Yeah, so you click that and it goes away. One thing that it doesn't do, from what I can tell, is it doesn't tell you anywhere the percentage like it does on the charger itself, how full it is. I kind of liked that option. So that's something that you don't get on this. But to stop charging, you just press stop. And that's about it, really. Are you going to use it? I don't know. I guess what it would be useful for is if you're kind of working on the computer and you're charging your batteries at the same time, you can sort of have it minimized down here and then just see how my battery's doing. But just keep in mind that you have to have that the wire connected, the USB wire. So that's the PC app. You can do one other thing, but I really don't see the point of it, is they do make a Wi-Fi adapter which transmits a Wi-Fi signal, and then you can have an app on your phone that you can also see the same things that we've just seen on the PC app. I mean, isn't that absolutely ridiculous? Why would you want to do that? So here's the Wi-Fi adapter. What can I say? I'm a sucker for gadgets, right? I don't know if I'm ever going to use this, but I just want to mention a couple of things, right? So as it's a Wi-Fi module, this connects to the charger through the same USB port and transmits a Wi-Fi signal. The problem with that is that as it's a Wi-Fi signal, you have to disconnect from whatever Wi-Fi signal you're currently connected to and your phone data, because I don't think a phone uses data as soon as it's connected to a Wi-Fi signal, so you don't get any of your 3G, 4G data while this is connected, which is a little bit of a pain. It would have been better being a Bluetooth module, and they do make a Bluetooth module, but I don't think it works with this charger. From what I can see, all the pictures and all the descriptions is that it connects to this, so it's a bit of a pointless device really. But there is an app on the Play Store. It shows here, App Store. It's not called Charge Master, funnily enough. There is an app called Charge Master on the App Store, but that's the one that works with the Bluetooth module. I can't remember what this one's called, but we'll take a look at that through the phone app in a bit, but let's get this connected. So this thing literally just plugs in here into the USB socket, and you have to wait until you've got two green lights, which we've got now, and that means that it's transmitting Wi-Fi. You also get one of these cables. So yeah, you get this cable with it, which is quite nice because it's like a mini USB to mini USB, and you're not going to have much need for one of those. So I was really pleased that it came with that. It's hidden at the back of the packaging, if you're wondering. It also comes with an ESC lead as well, because I think this module can be used with SKYRC ESCs to sort of calibrate them, but I don't have any of those, so don't really need that lead. I'm sure I'll reuse it somewhere else though. So now that we have got it connected to the charger, let's take a look at the app on the phone. Okay, so just to confuse us, the application is called SKYRC Charger Link. So the first thing that we need to do is go into the system settings, and we need to change the Wi-Fi options. So if I click into Wi-Fi there, you can see I'm connected to my current Wi-Fi for internet, but then can you see SKYRC A02 there? If I press that and press connect, it's going to connect to it. Now, that's happening because I've connected to it before, but the password is 1234 1234, and that's it, and then it connects, right? So it's as simple as that. In fact, and we even do forget and go through that again, so log into it. 1234 1234. Oh no, everyone knows my Wi-Fi password. Well, the most you're going to get is my charging statistics. Okay. And then it's connected. Okay, so let's come out the settings and then go into the app charger link. Searching for devices. And there we go. It's found it. So it looks a little bit different to the computer app, but it does the same thing pretty much. Okay, so LiPo, yeah, we want to do that. We want to charge oh, there we go. Look, it's got all our charging options. So we want a 3-cell for this battery. Voltage cutoff, yeah, you can change that. Obviously, actually, if we were ever discharging, we want it to discharge the 3.3, not 3 volts. But anyways, yeah, charge 4.2. Yeah, you don't want to go higher than that. You could go under it. That'd be quite nice. You can actually do that on the charger as well. I didn't go through that option, but you can have a lower max charge, but we can safely charge at 4.2, so that's fine. So I want to charge this one again at 3 amps because it's 3000 milliamp. Okay, now don't press the back button here because that will take you back to your home screen and reset everything you do. You want to go click the charge button at the bottom there. You can go to program and again make a program, system settings, you know, you make the buzzer and things, all the same settings as the other app. And then we press start. And hopefully it's going to start giving us telemetry, and it is doing. So we've got the model LiPo capability. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's just showing how many milliamps it's sending to the charger. The time, the voltage, 11.93 current should be around about the 3 amps like we said. External temperature, that's reading it from the sensor, 21. Basically the room temperature because the battery's not hot at all. Internal temperature, 29. I've seen that go up as high as 50, but not really any higher than that. We can go to the graphic and we get that same graph as that we got before. Click back. Balance, so it just shows you the individual voltages. You have to press the back button there. Okay, and so if we press stop, that's pretty much it. What you get, guys, that's it. You know, I wonder if it's got the protector on it. So if we try and say it, actually, it'd be safer to try and say it was a 2S, wouldn't it, than a 4S. Let's do that and go back to charging and start and see what happens. Cell number error, so that's good. Won't let you do that. Always balance charge, guys. Just always do it. But this is the Android app. It's a bit of a gimmick. So if you're interested in charging your batteries unattended, I think the best thing to do is use Splashtop or TeamViewer or something like that, because those apps work from 3G. You don't have to have the Wi-Fi connection working. So we're outside. Let's see if we can charge a battery or monitor it. So I'm gonna log into Splashtop, log into my computer, and there we go. I'm gonna zoom in on the app, and then I'm gonna press start charge because I've got the settings already set up. And there we go. We are remote charging and monitoring. I'm in the field outside, normally where I fly. We're running at 21°C, and the internal temperature is 29. So there's my review of the SKYRC B6AC V2 charger. Now sorry it's been a bit of a long video, but as you can see there's quite a lot to cover, and I want anyone who is going to buy this charger able to see all the things that you can do with it. Now I don't think I'm going to use a lot of those features. I mean, tell me what you think. I mean, is it useful to be able to promote the idea that you can monitor your batteries while you're away from them unattended? I'm not so sure about that. So all that's left for me to say is thanks a lot for watching the video. Please continue to subscribe, and I better go check if that sensor's still working. Thanks a lot for watching.